What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? I hope your new year is off to a fantastic start. But a while ago, I reviewed the Polar Vantage V2 watch. And this is Polar's kind of top of the line triathlon watch. It's a fantastic watch. But I mentioned in that video that I would be doubling back just to let you guys know exactly how this watch has held up over, a 100-day period. So that's this video. That's what this video is about. So we're not gonna do that full in-depth review. You guys can check out that previous video if you wanna see more details specifically about the watch. But in this video, we're gonna talk about data accuracy, we'll talk about durability, what features I tended to use most, and the things that I didn't think were all that worth worrying about. Okay, quick disclaimer here. Polar did provide me with this watch for the purpose of this review. However, they are not sponsoring this video. They don't get to see any footage or anything like that before you guys get to see it right here on YouTube. And anytime a company sends me something to review, I do try to pass it along to one of you guys in the form of a giveaway. So stay tuned till the end of this video and we'll go over all the details on how you can actually win this watch. Okay, as far as durability goes, I'd say this watch has been fantastic. The material across the top of the watch is a Gorilla Glass material, so it is resistant to scratches, but it's not scratch proof. It's probably the same type of material that you might have on your smartphone or someplace like that. But I do usually recommend to people that they should kind of go ahead and consider at least picking up a screen protector. I have some on my other watches that also have Gorilla Glass, and I really like that added protection. As far as the watch band goes, this is kind of that off-white watch band color. Two options, you have black and this off-white color. I was actually a little bit worried about this particular color, just because of how much swimming I do in a chlorinated pool. I was just worried that it might kind of turn a little bit yellow or have some sort of discoloration. So far, seems absolutely perfect to me, seems super solid. And when we do the giveaway, I'll give you guys the option of picking between, this white one and another black version of the same watch. Now, I found the GPS accuracy to be accurate enough. One of the features of this watch is how they've incorporated the GPS antenna into the aluminum watch body. That should provide a better signal. So I was expecting to see some improvement when I was comparing this watch to another watch like the Polar Grid X, but that was not the case. I typically get very good GPS signals from something like the Garmin Forerunner 745. And you can see here in this map data here that we're comparing the Polar Vantage V, which is kind of this dark red color, with the Garmin 745 in purple, and then also the Garmin 945. And to me, I actually notice that the Polar Vantage V tends to kind of stray a little bit off the trail. And really, while the distance and everything like that is very accurate, I found that the Vantage V just isn't as accurate as I was expecting after hearing about some of the improvements that they made with that particular GPS antenna. Now, this watch also uses Polar's new Precision Prime optical heart rate monitor, which is actually pretty cool. It has 10 LEDs as opposed to a lot of watches that might just use like 2 green LEDs. It also uses an accelerometer to kind of cancel out some of the motion. And really, that's one of the major problems with, detecting optical heart rate monitor at your wrist. You'll get lots of false readings because of motion, and using that accelerometer data really helps to kind of zero in on the blood flow within the wrist and distinguishing that between, just bouncing that you might get while running. I'm going to go ahead and make an entire video just talking about some of these different heart rate monitor technologies. And recently, I've noticed that the Vantage V is really kind of falling in line with some of the, more accurate chest-based heart rate monitors. If you look at this data here, this is, comparing a chest rate heart monitor to the Vantage V's, optical wrist-based heart rate monitor. And I do see a couple of little spikes in here. But again, for the most part, it does track pretty well. So after having used this for 100 days, one of the things that I love most about this watch is just how lightweight the watch is. The watch weighs in at only 53 grams, and I just find it a real pleasure to kind of wear. If you follow this channel, you know that I actually do a ton of testing on a ton of different watches, and I don't exactly wear the watches for the entire 100 days, obviously. So one of my favorite things about the Polar Vantage V2 is the sleep tracking. So very nice, lightweight watch, fantastic to wear while you're sleeping. In fact, I would find myself, switching out watches just so I had the Polar to sleep with. Because I love being able to dive into the sleep metrics. And I love being able to see the ANS score. ANS just stands for Autonomic Nervous System, which looks at a few metrics like the heart rate, your breathing rate, your HRV. HRV is very important to people working out because it stands for heart rate variability. A little bit counterintuitive, but when you're tired from, a strenuous workout or a long run or something like that, your heart rate will actually be less variable. While on the other hand, if you have more variability, you're tending to be a little bit better recovered. So HRV is a fantastic tool, and that's part of the score that you'll get when you're looking at some of this data. Other part of the sleep score is, a little bit more basic, and it's just called their sleep charge. But it's showing you stuff like, overall how well you slept. That would show stuff like the amount of overall sleep that you have gotten. It'll show you any sort of large interruptions or things like that. Okay, things that I'm not that into with this watch, and I know I'm gonna get some hate mail for this, but a lot of the new testing and fitness features on this watch are really brand new to this watch, and they can provide you with a ton of feedback on, how recovered you are from previous workouts. And I will say, while I applaud the effort, it's just something that I'm not that personally into. It's not something that I've been using over the past couple months. Tons of different testing features. You can get your FTP test, which I have done in the past month. Again, I'll use a different tool for that. You can look at tons of different recovery tools. You can do jump tests, you can do things like that. Just not stuff that I really use. Another super cool feature on this watch, and a feature that's on a lot of Polar watches, is called their Fit Spark Guide. And it is fantastic. It'll give you a recommendation of kind of some quick workouts, some activities that you could do based on your recent activities. So if you've done a lot of cardio activity, like I usually do, it might suggest something like some sort of supportive workout, some mobility or some dynamic stretching, which is something I should do. And the watch is recommending that to me. It's, again, super cool feature. It's just something that I tend to ignore. And I have been ignoring for the past 100 days. So the only thing it's just making me feel a bit more guilty about skipping those workouts. Okay, on to some real complaints about this watch. And one of my biggest ones is the lap swimming mode. And this is actually a complaint that I have on a lot of the watches that I test. And it just feels like to me that the developers of these watches are really kind of throwing swimming in, kind of as an afterthought on a lot of these watches. I will say that if you come swim with me, we are gonna do some kick sets. We are gonna do some drill sets. We might even get crazy, we might even mix it up, and we might do some non-freestyle, different strokes within our workout. But the point is, I need a watch that can actually account for all of that and allow me to still have an accurate distance when I'm done. And I would say, for these companies to kind of look at what Garmin is doing, they actually have a drill mode, which seems to work pretty well. But even better than Garmin, I would say have a look at what Form swim goggles are doing. They're actually using an accelerometer, and they're pairing that with their own, proprietary algorithm just to determine which type of stroke you're actually doing. And then they'll provide the user with kind of a ton of different metrics and a breakdown of when you used each stroke. I would definitely go check them out and just copy what they're doing, sort of. You have to come up with your own algorithm. But the last annoyance that I have with this Polar Vantage V2 would be the price. This watch comes in right at $500, which I still think is really expensive for a triathlon watch. I know that a lot of triathlon watches have kind of, honed in on this $500 range, but I'd still love to see more options in that kind of sub $300 range. Okay, I do appreciate that you guys have stuck around through this video. If you would like to win this watch or be entered to win this watch, you can choose between the white or the black version. First, make sure that you are subscribed to me, and then just drop down below in the comment section of this video and tell me what your goals are for 2021. I'll give this video about a week or so, and then I'm gonna pick a random comment. I'm gonna reach out to you right within this comment section, and I'll let you know that you've won. And what I need from you is just for you to respond to me within a week or so, and the best way to do that is just to send me your address within some sort of private message system. I'd prefer if you just send me a private message on Instagram. Okay, hopefully you've been able to get a quick feel for how this Polar Vantage V2 has held up for me over the past 100 days. And while, I would say, it's not my all-time favorite triathlon watch, I'd say that title still rests with the Garmin Forerunner 945. I do think that this is by far my favorite polar watch. And I will say that it has been rock solid. And I think that it is a great option if you are looking for, some sort of multi-sport watch here in early 2021. And as always, don't forget to get out there, swim, bike, run, rinse, and repeat it all over again. And we will see you guys in the next one.